we both have pieces out there on the Action app and actionnetwork.com on our early thoughts on the college football playoff market. And then just to update our listeners out there on what we are thinking and what the lines are. I mean, Clemson's still a 2-point favorite, over under 63. I said before, I made Clemson 1-59. So I don't know if I'll have a play on the total unless this goes back up. And I might think about Ohio State if this gets to 3. And then in the other game, we have Oklahoma LSU. LSU's a 13-point favorite, over under 76. I do think that this total is a tad high, but I don't know if I'm running to go bet an Oklahoma LSU under. In regards to the side, I also think it's too high, but I'm waiting to see if I can get a 14. We still have 2 weeks before this game starts. I want to see if I can get a flat 14. Even though I love LSU, it comes down to the number. I think it's a tad high, and there's no team that, Oklahoma is as good of a team as you can want in the country to go get you a back door if they're down 17 or even 21 for a push. So that's where I stand right now. Any updated thoughts from you on where these lines stand?
Well, we probably need to have a question about how to address futures at some point, because ever since last January, I only had a couple of national championship futures. The Georgia, those are out the door. I had an Oklahoma 30-1 that I've had DMs from people that were able to get that number 2. I've got a Clemson number that's floating out there, and in the middle of the season, I took an Ohio State 4-1. So I think at some point I'm going to talk about how to handle each one of those tickets. And I think just from throwing those all out from a futures perspective, as far as handling the game, I know we're going to have a ton of content and a ton of pieces on LSU and Oklahoma, and I will have money down pregame. I already do on Oklahoma at 14. I think if it's at 13.5 and you can get a cheap 13.5, maybe buy it up to 14. If you got to take it in a pick 'em pool, I would take Oklahoma. The number's too high. It should be 8. But let me be honest with you guys. Let me be straight up honest with you guys. Whatever I have on Oklahoma LSU, I will have at least that much and probably more live in game. I can see this total being up in the 80s and 90s, and if it gets really crazy, up in the hundreds at some point where you can hit an under. I can see Oklahoma's live number being over 21, and you just got to ask yourself, what kind of player are you? Live limits are usually $500 on some sites, $1,000 on other sites, and it can be risky trying to get those pushed in and punched in. So if you bet more than that, then live isn't the way for you to go. Maybe second half is the way for you to go. But Oklahoma LSU to me is going to be a much larger investment after kickoff than it is before. Now with Clemson, Ohio State, nothing has changed my mind, Stuck. I spent days trying to find out how Ohio State's going to beat Clemson. And I still haven't figured it out yet, because I keep going back to the offensive line and I keep looking at how the secondary has been torn up for Ohio State lately. So yeah, I will continue to dig, but right now it's all Clemson for me. And I've already hit the over in that game. I think it should be higher. I think it should be, closer above 67. So I would still suggest taking an over 63 there, although that is where the entire market is right now.